Welcome to Keeping Score. I'm Rick Horrow. Each week we bring you insights from the playmakers, deal makers, and rule makers in the world of sports. I'll give you my take on some of the items of the week using my 30 years of experience doing deals for teams, leagues, and players in the $750 billion business of sports. Plus, we'll talk with a central figure in the sports world. The views expressed in this podcast are my own and do not represent the views of Reuters. Let's get started. Golfer Phil Mickelson agreed to return $931,000 he made in 2012 from a series of stock trades. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission asked him to give up the money he received from trades in milk processor Dean Foods, which were based on insider information. Mickelson was not charged with violating securities laws, but said he felt vindicated and had no desire to benefit from any transaction viewed as questionable. He also expressed appreciation to his sponsors for maintaining their agreements with him. The SEC says Mickelson got the tips from gambler William Walters, to whom Mickelson owed money. Walters and former chairman of Dean Foods face criminal charges in connection with the matter. Mickelson thinks the issue is behind him, and given today's activity, it probably is. 60 million pounds per year, or nearly $88 million. That's how much Nike is paying English Premier League club Chelsea to become its official sportswear company, according to The Telegraph. It's twice what Chelsea was getting from Adidas, whose contract it ended 6 years early. Chelsea will have to pay Adidas about $72 million to get out of the current deal. Even with the more lucrative agreement with Nike, Chelsea still trails Manchester United, which gets about £75 million, or nearly $110 million per year, for its sportswear contract, which Adidas holds. The bottom line, more money from sponsors, more money for players and leagues, not only in England, but across the pond as well. Interest in thoroughbred racing growing the year after American Pharoah won the Triple Crown. Ticket sales for the 141st Preakness Stakes up 11% over the same time last year, and the event will likely sell out, according to the Baltimore Business Journal. Undefeated Nyquist trying to win the race after finishing first in the Kentucky Derby. Black-eyed Susan Day on Friday also expected to see higher than normal attendance. The Friday races typically draw about 35,000 visitors at Old Hilltop, but Maryland Jockey Club General Manager Sinatra expects more than 40,000 people this year. As in all other sports, a winning streak equals fans equals revenue. Now, the role of technology in improving the fan experience, from parking to traffic to where to get a hot dog. I talked with Jim Rushton, who heads IBM's new sports division. Jim Rushton, a leader in industry revenue maximization, clearly. Now, however, he is the global leader, partner, sports entertainment, interactive experience for IBM. That's a great title. Congratulations. That's a wonderful deal.
Makes my mom proud.
Well, no, it makes everybody proud. So what does this mean?
So this is an opportunity where IBM has been involved in sports for 20 plus years, starting with the '96 Olympics, the US Open, the Masters, Wimbledon, Australian Open, and a lot of other different sports. And about 2 years ago, became involved with the Atlanta Falcons, with the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and Arthur Blank and his sports entertainment group, starting with building that stadium of the future with the infrastructure. First of all, connecting the entire network, whether it's security or access control or the video boards, et cetera, bringing that under one system, and then utilizing that system in order to inform what's a data management layer, data management would be to learn about the individual fan, and then ultimately make a presentation to the fan, whether it's on a tablet or mobile phone, desktop, that is personal to them as an individual.
And you've been at the forefront of revenue maximization all over the leagues, sports, Miami Dolphins, otherwise. So clearly what you're saying, or what IBM is saying, is that the fan counts, the fan matters, and the experience in the future needs to be created from the fan out.
You've nailed it. So you should come work for us.
Yeah, I'm happy.
So our perspective is it's fan-centric design, and don't make technology decisions for the sake of technology. Start with the fan-centric design. What's the strategy in order to execute against that design? Use data to inform, and then ultimately make the technology decisions. And wrap that all around the up to 7 different businesses in a typical sports enterprise. You've got the venue, tickets, concession, merchandise, sponsorship, integrated media. And now what we're seeing quite a bit is these real estate complexes that are being built around the venue. What's going to go on in LA, what's happening up in Milwaukee, what's happening in a lot of different places around the world, is the venue can't sustain its value on its own. So a lot of owners now are building out entire campuses of live, work, play experiences.
Venue, spectator, entertainment, you're right, commercial. And so the bottom line of all of this is you need to stay one step ahead of where the curve is. And the revenue, though, still driven by television rights, which obviously is important for fans, though. But how's the mix? You talked about vertical integration in your description, but where's the mix of television and the vertical integration of television fit into the stadium experience as well?
You know, what's interesting is that you've got sports is very unique in that most companies have millions of customers but relatively few fans.
Yeah.
Sports has millions of fans but relatively few customers. And we talk about it in the form of rented relationships, earned relationships, and owned relationships. So a rented relationship being someone who is connected through broadcast television or through social media. Earned is someone who's in the team's database. And owned is actually the person who moves from fan to customer and are actually spending money directly with the team. Where there's an opportunity because of digital today is for these sports enterprises not only to maximize the opportunity at the physical space, being at the stadium, but also the virtual fan base as well.
So the bottom line of a lot of the technical solutions, and we see it at stadiums, there's now connectivity in the tailgate lots with the suites, in the general area, the traffic to and from facilities. When does that stop? Technology continues to evolve to deal with these issues.
It doesn't, it'll never stop, fortunately, for our company and others in technology. But it also what consumer demand. And our perspective is that the fan of the sports enterprise should have an experience that's relative to time, proximity, and relationship. So time being game day, non-game day, or off-season. Proximity being at the venue, out of the venue at home, or out of the venue out of home. And relationship. Are they a passively engaged fan? Are they an actively engaged fan? Or are they actually a high-value customer? And while everybody should be treated well, not everybody should be treated the same. So that person who's in stadium, it's game day, and they're a high-value customer should have a slightly different experience than game day at home, and then an active and engaged fan.
Well, everybody knows that from your Dolphin experience and my Dolphin fandom, you can't win every game. You like to win half. You can't win every game. But you can provide an entertaining experience for people where they'll come to the games independent of whether the team is undefeated or not. So how does this experience play into all of that? It's consistent, it's evolving, people need to enjoy that experience in a comprehensive way.
You're right, and so most teams treat their fans all the same. They may segment them into different types of buckets or different types of relationships, but at the end of the day, it's about my driveway to my seat. Yeah. And so my driveway to the parking lot is a pain point. What's the traffic gonna be like? Once I've got through traffic, now getting down to the parking lot, which one do I go to? Another pain point. Once I've got in the parking lot, which gate do I go into? Another pain point. Yeah. When I get through the gates, do I take a left or a right in the concourse? Now I finally get into my seat, I gotta go to the bathroom. Or I have to go get a beer or a hot dog, and I need to step away. Where do I go? Yeah. And then the ultimate pain point is, it's 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. If I leave now, will I get home? Or if I leave at the end, how long will it take me to get home? Yeah. And utilizing technology in order to inform that fan all the way along the way. And then also to inform the level of relationship they have with the team so it continues to get more personal and they're treated more as an individual versus a group of fans.
One of the interesting things is there are a lot of people that talk that game over the last few years, but to have IBM, whether you running it, it's a great thing, but to have IBM involved in that space as a blue chip, there are a lot of other blue chip companies that are now understanding how important this whole concept is to the future of sports.
Absolutely. And our perspective of it is certainly, what I am and we are most excited about is the idea of taking it from a fan-centric approach. And then looking at the entire enterprise across we call it 3 pillars. You've got fans that are tied to an enterprise, you've got the team, and then you've got the venue. And when you're talking about the fans, it's like is engagement. And about the team, it's performance both on and off the field. And then the venue, it's about optimization. And we look at each one of those and say, how can we continue to improve and work with our partners in order to advance and reach those individual goals?
Decouching means a lot of things to a lot of different people. It's a devil term. We even have conferences on decouching now. And, Roger Goodell will say, let's have a great television and media experience. Let's have a great stadium experience. Where is the trade-off? Is there one? The best stadium experience, some people have to give up watching on TV and go to the game. Is it a zero-sum game? How do you approach that issue?
I think you approach it by working with the enterprise and sports in general, getting to know your customers. And getting to know them in an intimate way, and then looking for the signals along the way, which may indicate that they are going to be on the couch, they're always going to be on the couch. How can you create an experience for them on the couch that's delivered by you outside of just what's delivered by the broadcast partner, which is then monetizable? And on the flip side, you've got people that are always going to come to the game and come to every game. Then you've got some folks that can go either afford to, either in time or money, to 1 or 2 games a year. And it's really looking at the different segments of your fan base and getting to know that. And, I look at one example, and it was a court case with DraftKings and FanDuel. And there was 2 stats that came out of that court case in New York. Was one, that there was 600,000 players in New York. And number 2, there was $200 million spent in New York. And I thought about that. I took a step back and said, I don't know if those teams in New York know who any of those 600,000 people are.
But they're spending a lot of money.
And they surely like to get a hold of that $200 million.
Yeah.
It was just an amazing stat that was publicly on public record as a result of that case.
Where is traditional television media going in your estimation?
I think live sports, it'll always do well because you don't have the same excitement level if you DVR a game because you're going to get pinged with a text message or an ESPN update or something along the way. What's interesting, what we've seen initially is, certainly with the Super Bowl, CBS allowed live streaming and they did the broadcast and they got a larger audience. Broadcast television will survive. I don't think it's going to go away, but it will be fueled by live sports. There was some conference and they showed all the new TV shows were launched last year. And then on one slide was a logo soup slide, a lot of logos. And then they showed the next one, all the ones that were canceled. And it was logos.
Probably the same.
And then they said, so of sports, how many sporting events were there last year? And then how many were canceled was a blank piece of paper. So, you talk about OTT, you talk about different distribution rights, there's an opportunity in international with OTT. And then and then you're looking at the Thursday night package with the NFL and what they're going to do. They're going to, splitting it up. Not only did they split it up amongst CBS and the NFL Network, they're now going CBS, NBC, NFL Network, and a OTT partner.
And that may be the future of this. So, in your expert opinion, 5 years from now, how does this all shake out? That in-stadium experience, the OTT piece, the traditional network piece, all interrelated? What's your prediction?
My prediction is that the organizations that are going to be in the forefront of this are the ones that recognize how do you unlock the value of your ecosystem. And what's interesting is that the fan passion is something that could be and can be capitalized on by sports because I will always react differently to a message from a sports team than on an email message than from some other type of product along the way. Organizations that can start to capture, and then we talk about that rented relationship, earned relationship, owned relationship, and look at all the different touch points that they have amongst their ecosystem and pull those people in and start to build a digital relationship with them because of the underlying value and passion of the sports, they will completely manage their entire business model. And to your point earlier, they won't be susceptible of 8-8, 6-10, 2-14,
whatever those teams are going to be.
Exactly.
Interesting, your own personal happiness. You must be excited to be a worldwide influencer in a big blue chip company. Clearly, your hair is a lot less gray than it was when you were with the Dolphins.
It is. Well, yes, but it's been a terrific opportunity, and working with a terrific group of people, and we had a terrific group at the Dolphins, and they continue to innovate down there, and they continue to grow the franchise, and there's an unbelievable opportunity in sport, and I've had the chance to travel around the world in this first year and meet with various EPL clubs, meet with of course 4 major leagues here and 5 major leagues here in the U.S., plus a lot of different teams, and see, and it just continues to reaffirm the opportunity in sport to unlock the value of their ecosystem.
And the bottom line sounds like innovation is key.
100%. You've got to keep up with the fans. I mean, any sports enterprise or organization that believes that they can manage the fans, you can't control consumer habit. And so you're either going to figure out how to capitalize on it, because you can't block it.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for listening to this edition of Keeping Score. I'm Rick Horrow. The producer of the show, Alex Cohen. Associate producer, Bethel Habte. Assistance provided by Tanner Simpkins and Carlos Waddick. And the executive editor of Reuters Digital, Dan Colarusso.